Hi, everybody. This is David from Sounds Good. I'm here today with Robin and Ben, my colleagues, and we are going to walk through some of the coolest stuff that Shopify has announced in their latest Shopify Summer Editions. As I said, David, this is my name, it's myself. Very quickly, if you don't know me yet, I am head of business development at our agency. Robin is our CEO, and Ben is one of our full stack developers. I'm David. Myself and Robin, we are in Czech Republic, and Ben is with us from the UK or Sheffield, if you want to be more specific. But who cares about Sheffield? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So let's go straight to the important materials here. AI is the buzzword. Everybody's speaking about it. We also have to speak about it because Shopify has released quite an interesting suite of AI tools, specifically what they call Shopify Magic. So, Robin, would you like to speak a bit about it, please?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm the best person. Since it's cool. Like they and there are much more stuffs you can ask the AI to create you some stuffs or drawn some, or take out some data from the analytics and figure out what's going wrong. Still based on the ChatGPT, so the by my opinion the consistency can be kind of issue. I think that Ben can talk a little bit more about this issue or even the things which it brings to us, since he is, well, I would say that he is the most enthusiastic in our company about the AI, especially in his open source networks, etc. So I would love to bring him in on this topic. I think he will be the best person to speak about it.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
pretty good topic. Yeah, Ben, you also told me something about building our own AI chatbot and stuff like that. So maybe you can bring in a bit about information of like how complex was for Shopify to build this new sidekick and how useful do you think it will be in reality?
I think with the innovation in the open source within AI, we are moving really fast. Like we have things like Hugging Face, we have GPT-5 coming out, and I think Shopify has been able to leverage tools like OpenChat and other things. So they've been able to leverage the open source community there and be able to ship this product really fast. And I've been trying it and asking it different things in the Shopify admin, and it's really surprising what it's able to do. And I think as you ask it more things and it learns more about your store, the capabilities expand, right? So you have to learn it and do what you want with it, right?
Yeah, we also, from a developer's perspective, we've seen a version of Sidekick being released earlier within the developer's documentation. Have you guys played with it already?
I've played with Sidekick, but only like a developer preview. Um,
Okay.
and it's really good. And
When you go to the Shopify dev, the documentation, you also have this type of like chatbot to help you navigate through the documentation. Have you played with it yet?
I haven't seen that actually.
Yeah,
There's
it's quite cool. It's quite cool.
oh, cool.
Yeah, you can actually ask specific questions. There's an endpoint for me to be able to connect A with B and so on, and it will spit out the answer for you. So it's quite an interesting way to streamline this discovery. But from a merchant's perspective, Robin, if you'd be like running your store and you have the sidekick and the admin, what would be like the first questions you are thinking about playing with and testing and asking this magic chatbot?
The main question is where you are as a store, right? Because if you are starting as a store, then you can like let him even do the simplest stuff like, okay, set up my scheme color to green and polish the colors. These things are definitely possible, and I see that for the beginners in the e-commerce, this would be super helpful. I know that how Ben said that eventually it can learn more about your store and give you the perfect answers. But if you are in e-commerce for, let's say, few years, and especially if you are in the Shopify for a few years, you already know your way around it, right?
Yep.
That I really, that I little bit doubt. how this will be eventually helpful. I think it can help with like stuff. I don't know, create me a blog, but that can help even the ChatGPT. I'm not sure, honestly, how much it can help. Like if you are already established e-commerce manager or e-commerce admin, how this can help you. But I believe that that's maybe not even the Shopify intention. I
Yeah.
think it's more about the beginners to like help them navigate through the Shopify, help them learn, find out the
Yeah.
new stuff. Maybe eventually even for the people in the e-commerce, and especially if you are e-commerce manager, you don't you don't play only with the Shopify, right? So
Yeah.
you have other stuffs to do, and then you just need to figure out something quick. You probably forgot it in the past, or there are some new ways which you are not aware. So maybe there is help really to find out how to do it. I also think I'm kind of curious how it will work on the analytic perspective, because
Yeah.
that's where Shopify says that it will leverage it more, I mean, or most. But even for myself being in the e-commerce over 10 years, and if someone asks me why my sales are down, there is usually not one simple answer which you can give. So if ChatGPT will, or if Sidekick will give you some answer, it probably may be true. Question is if it's only this thing and if it helps.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's interesting. I think like it would be cool for speeding up the navigation through the online store, through the administration, because I might say, okay, I need to figure out what are my top three selling products for the last 2 weeks when I run a specific campaign.
yeah,
And I might ask the sidekick to tell me what it was instead of having to go through multiple reports, filter things out until I figure out if it's correct or not. So I think it will be like an aid to make things faster. And I just want to highlight here, when the AI gods come to place, Robin was the one doubting you, not me or Ben. So take him, okay?
yeah. But actually, I think that in the future, once it will get more evolved, which will, and once even Shopify will adjust the other tools around, how we see is that it's happening, even with the newest stuffs released. I'm not sure if we will talk about it, but for example, with the flex customization, I believe that eventually AI can even help you build a store, which
Yeah.
may even help smaller stores to don't need the agency, which essentially, like, this is all what we want even as an agency, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to spend your time on clicking the red button or making something 50%. And if the sidekick that can eventually help with that, I think it can be really beneficial on all sides of these repeated tasks, which as agency we are doing, and that AI can definitely learn them. So that can be interesting. The question is how much people will use it. Right now, we know that AI is a buzzword and everyone tries to leverage it. Some people are saying that it's only like maybe even developers will go back to the Google basically, because even the find or anything like that will just gives you the answer which are already online. Maybe chew them for you. Question is how good. Like this will be, I think that we will see how it will evolve. It's interesting. Right now, honestly, for me, I think it's mainly for the smaller stores.
Yeah. Understand the perspective for sure.
I
Yeah, we
think
covered. Yeah, sorry, Ben. Go on.
I think with things like, for example, the generated answers, when the customers are asking it, I think it's a blank slate when it starts, and if you give it enough data about your store, it'll then be able to leverage those. And I think because Shopify have the global merchant network, right? As more people ask it questions, it'll just get smarter and smarter. It's like if you use GPT-2, it was terrible compared to GPT-3. And then if you use number 4, and I think internally they're already working on GPT-6, so you can definitely see the progress in um, accurate answers, but it does hallucinate a lot of these things. But I think they'll get out of that as they train them more.
Still
Yeah.
generative AI, right? It's not like, so it needs to like create the answer, and then how you interpret the data. If even as a person you will get the same data, three persons will come with the different results. So if it's not super obvious, right? But what is super obvious? So then it's like hard to say what is the right one. But yeah.
Yeah, because you can ask it the same question like just 3 times, different chats, and it'll say 3 different things that could be right. They might all be right in a technical way, but it's then you as the user to decide, am I going to use that, or
Yeah, yeah, I would say that I agree with you guys that it's what I would say that Sidekick or the Shopify Magic says the most is that Shopify is at the forefront of innovation. Because as you said, guys, this is early stages. Who knows how this will behave in 6 months, in 1 year, and so on and so forth. The tech will be better, the way of leveraging data will be better, and people also find their own creative ways of integrating their own apps and extensions and services within these AI solutions. The cool thing is that Shopify launched this or announced this launch way earlier compared with any other e-commerce platforms, I would say. So definitely a positive plus for Shopify, and I think it will improve the productivity. Let's say that it improves the productivity by 10% even, which is not ridiculously high. It's just like more gains for everybody. And yeah, like we already covered the development side, how you see the chatbot on the dev documentation. We covered on the admin side. Now we have here a slide about how the AI also can help us to communicate and to interface with our customers in a more cost effective way, of course, and just in a more efficient way in general. So we know that Sidekick is going to be integrated with Shopify Inbox, which will help you generate the right answers to your customers. All these things are still in very early stages. That's why also today we brought here one of our partners, Nicola from SmartsUp, because they actually have they have a more advanced solution that does this type of work. And I would like to give him the word to hear what he has to tell about this, all these AI chatbot live chat situations, how one can leverage it for the best results in e-commerce.
Thanks, David, for that. Hope everyone hears me. My name is Nicola. I come from SmartsUp. SmartsUp is a company that we're building a solution that helps businesses drive online sales through conversations. Our core focus is of enabling businesses to sell more through their website by deploying chatbots, AI, or live chat solutions. And I'm really excited to go through it to you. Just to note that we are already there on the Shopify App Store, but we just started. But you can find our solution. You can integrate it with your website, and we will be gladly to help you for you to help us with this. And I have a neat offer for you later. In general, I will quickly introduce you to SmartsUp and what we do. We are definitely focused on, again, making sure that e-commerces can sell more through their website. And we are fully aware that e-commerces now face many challenges, such as inflation, competition is increasing, the traffic and advertising is also increasing, and of course, replicating some of the retail success is tough. And this last point is interesting for me, especially because it still is something that we see many e-commerces have challenges with, is basically the idea how to replicate the success of retail into digital world. And this is the problem that we are actually trying to solve effectively as well. Basically, what we see as a main problem is that in online world, businesses do not have the luxury to inform the customers better or to individually speak with them. And of course, any website that is just static without live chat or any kind of help is like a brick and mortar store without an assistant. And we are taking this actively and solving it with numerous tools I'm going to explain. But in general, it all relies around possibility of engaging with the customers online on your web store. And this is usually done through live chat solution, which is SmartsUp, of course, and the one that mentioned guys before. So there's a couple of things we do, but in general, we say that we provide value through 3 different pillars. Is that we enable our customers to convert visitors into leads, so you can capture all of the visitors and turn them into your new business. We also bring you tools that will help you engage those visitors and automate all the engagement, so you can provide bespoke offers, personalized approach, and so on. And of course, we aim to allow our customers to personally assist customers when there is a need. So in this way, we kind of cover the entire customer journey. We have you covered from the way when the customer lands on your website as a visitor, and of course, if they want to buy something, our tool is there to help you. And we, of course, as I mentioned before, use AI and combination of chatbots and live chat in one platform to allow businesses such as yours to thrive. One of the key features that we have is this automated engagement, which basically allows you to send personalized offers to all your visitors with a goal to convert them into repeating customers. Also, by providing you a channel or a way how you can actually reach out to those customers when they have some interest, this will definitely help them to get them to buy more and keep them happy. And this is definitely a different way how you can sell online, not just through your website, but actually selling through conversations to all of your visitors and customers. And of course, we are implementing a whole suite of AI-powered solutions to help in the entire process of selling. We are actively working on an AI chat bot that will help engage customers at the right time, automate the collection of leads, and of course pass the information to the agents, to the humans, of course. But it will also be able to answer all the questions and all of the good stuff to actively sell and support your customers when you are not online, of course. And of course, using AI in this kind of use case is arguably a really good thing and profitable, let's say, for you, because it will allow you to engage with all of your visitors and customers when you are sleeping 24/7, thousands of them, hundreds of them, how many you have. It's a technology that will enable you to do this, so you don't have to do it personally. We are well-established solution. We have over 70,000 customers worldwide. Many of them are really big logos throughout the world, especially recognizable in Czech Republic. There's numerous case studies you can review on our website. This is one of that I picked, is definitely just focusing on this sales use case, not just support use case through chat, but actually actively selling through SmartSup as a tool. And the InSport line definitely saw an increase of 10% of their sales, and they are using it actively to sell their goods through chatbots. And I recommend you doing so as well. We also integrate with all great major platforms. And of course, as I mentioned before, we are on Shopify, but we are just starting there. And here's our offer. Try out SmartSup. There's a cool free account, free and the trial account. Try it out. If you leave a good review, we will give you 50% off of all paid accounts. But of course, if you have any questions or you want to explore SmartSup more, please let me know to my email and we will get in touch and get you fastly onboarded. This is for me, guys. Please feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Questions? We spoke that inbox will be connected to the AI. Do you have any fear or doubts that Shopify will like drive some of the customers to the inbox? Because yeah, for sure it's like part of the platform.
Yes.
So like, do you have any like, are you afraid of it, or is it more like?
So from my perspective, how I see it is that Shopify is just one platform that we cover. Our solution is universal across platform, whether that's Magento, WordPress, WooCommerce, whatever. So our solution is pretty broad. And of course, what I see here is that we have still this advantage of being nimble. Our tool is being powered by all the customers around the world. We will learn about their use cases and implement those use cases in our solution. And I think even Spotify is a tech giant. We will have still the dynamic and an ability to actually implement some things faster than them. Of course, there is always a risk that they are going to build a better solution, but we know that we also have competition, and we easily beat them in our feature set and how we position our solution. So there's multiple aspects how we can do better, but there's also multiple aspects how we do worse. My argument is that we will learn from all of our customers around the world and implement the best solution for Shopify merchants as well.
Cool. Thanks for the answer. Like I'm on the board with you. I always think that Shopify when release something, it's especially these free tools are never a replacement of the big tools as SmartSap or
Yeah.
any other.
Well, there's also aspect which comes to my mind is now the integrability of with other solutions. I'm not sure whether Shopify has an API that connect with other solutions easily. Ours have, and of course we have a dedicated customer success and service team that will help merchants get onboarded fast. I'm not sure if someone has a issue with Shopify inbox, how easy is to resolve any bug they might have. In our case, it's pretty fast. Like feedback loop is pretty fast, and we will cover that.
And if I'm correct, you can like set up your admin the way how you want to look for the specific like customer. Like if I want as a customer have there some filters, etc. It's like easily done in the administration, right? Like for the answers, which Shopify will never provide. So even for that, like, I think it's when you have more people, it's definitely a better solution. Or if you have more inquiries in general.
Yeah, we are betting on that, and we are actively working on building a solution that would be better.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Nicola, for your time. And I know you have to run and pick up your kids. Have a nice weekend. Thanks for joining us today.
Everyone. Boys,
Bye.
please reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.
Will do.
Yay, my favorite topic.
Let's go.
Let's do it. This is the next like level, right? The next section of our conversation today. How Shopify is bringing their administration to a different level. We are going to go through some of the most interesting aspects today, at least from our biased perspective.
Yeah. Get me back. That was more interesting.
Oh, it was too fast. Go on.
I'll take it because I love this topic. As you can notice, like my main focus is like I rather work with the big e-commerce solution and basically solving their issues, right? And this is something what has been Achilles heel of the Shopify for a long time. Like you couldn't edit the administration, and if you didn't like it, then like tough life, right? Of course, they have perfect UI, and it's really like simple to navigate through. But if you want, let's say, have a custom return workflow, and you want just go to the order and not use the Shopify one because there is only no decision. Basically, there is just return. Do I want to restock it and send the money back? But if you want to have some custom workflow, tag it, send it somewhere to some API of your, I don't know, ERP solution or whatever, and make there some decisions, you couldn't do it. What you had to do, you could create the button in the more actions, then you do something like create return workflow, and it drop you to the app which you had to create. Now, this changed everything because now you can add the blocks directly to the order and or customer or product or whatever you want. So basically you don't need to leave the page where you are on the order. And like I think that this is like super powerful on the Shopify side, that opens the new possibilities, and especially for the big stores and for big customers, this will allow them to do basically whatever they want and integrate it in their current flows, which they have, current processes, and make it much more smoother. I think that one thing which I heard a lot of podcasts lately about, like the new Shopify edition, etc. Like everyone be speaking about other stuff, but this didn't get much attention. And especially one thing, and is the meta filtering. Like if you are a big store, you have thousands of products, you cannot just filter by the tags or anything like that, because you need to create some unique filters. You need to search through some unique stuffs. You may have it connected to the ERP, to CRM, and you want to search by the not native Shopify information. and you haven't been able to do it till now, and now you can do the meta field filtering, which is like super strong. And with a combination of the ad blocks and even the pop-ups, that like you can run multiple steps in the pop-ups on this page where you are, like that opens the whole new world. And actually I think, by my opinion, that Shopify now is targeting the bigger customers, because this will not be useful for you if you are a small customer who has nothing done custom. You may have some app which may add there something, whatever. But like for bigger customer, big retailers, this is the game changer. This is one thing which they've been always fear of. And this helped them a real lot.
Ben, like, what do you think it will be like the first practical applications of these new capabilities?
I agree with Robin. I think before you couldn't have fields and stuff and data like outside of your ERP. Now it can be right there the way you want it to display, and the data can be. You don't have to have data in Shopify and data managed in the ERP or some outside source. You can just create the data right there in Shopify and have it work on metafill objects and stuff like that. So it just allows the merchant to have one hub for all of the stuff.
Yeah, you've raised an interesting keyword there: meta objects, meta fields. Uh, Maybe Ben, you can give us, before we go into the news regarding the custom landing pages with meta objects, what is the real thing? What is a meta field? What is a meta object? Try to explain this as if I have never heard about this term before.
So metafields are like they're like a namespace within that Liquid can access, and they've all like Shopify have always said you have these metafields and you have namespaces you can put data within, but meta objects are more like if you've got a catalog of records and you want them to be records and then have different things inside those, you can define those at top level like Shopify define a product or a collection. You can create meta objects like that, and then you can have further drill down of data within the meta objects, which then you can leverage on your theme on the front end.
So it's basically like if we'd have a custom CMS inside Shopify.
Yeah, if you want to have custom types of things, you can have that with meta objects.
Yeah. Are you excited about this one, Robin?
Yeah, actually, I think that meta objects are kind of funny, because when they Shopify released them, I had a feeling, okay, cool. So we had a JSON meta field, which basically could contain all of these things. What is the advantage? And when we played with it a little bit more, we found out that you can really like even have their set of different informations for the collections, like preset, etc. Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. But the custom landing pages, just moving it to the new level, because I know multiple cases where you can use it, like from top of my head, right? For a long time, we are co-working with the Mana. They have like 40 ingredients, right? And
Like
ideally,
ingredients per product, or they have a landing page per each ingredient?
they would have the landing page for each ingredient, but it's nightmare to build in the Shopify.
Yeah.
Then this change it, right? Because what you can do, you will just preset basically that it should have the image, it will have some subtitle, some title, some call to action button, whatever, some description, some other image, and like you will just set it up, right? And then you fill it with all of these. You will fill with the information based on the ingredients, which you already have this information. And in the templates, you will just create, okay, make the pages from the meta object. And as any other page, like even if you are building blog or anything like that, you will just basically preset the template. But then you don't need to create. Mana, we've been creating, for example, something for ambassadors of the brand, right? So even that, you have the ambassadors, and you had to create for every single one of them the new page, right there the sale, right there the title, put there the images, and you've been just creating these pages, like it took you 4 hours, and then you just spend there 4 hours of creating, I don't know, 10 ambassadors, and that's it. Right? Now you can just fill the information to the meta object, and you will prepare the template in the customizer as you usually do on any other page, and it will automatically populate all the meta objects which you have there. And even if you add a new one, it will populate a new one and create a new URL. So you don't need to be worried about like, yeah, is it published the page? Isn't it published? Did I put? Does it look the same how looks the page before? You just have it there. You will just fill the information, and then it will automatically go on and goes on. So once you have, I don't know, artists, ambassadors, ingredients, or even just information about our team, right? The
Yeah.
medallions about the team. You can just do it in the meta object and have it preset like that. This is something what every brand can use. And I think that we will see it. So far, the old brands already built a different way. They have blogs, they have
Yeah.
pages, and you have it done. But sooner or later, I believe that most of these brands will move it to the meta objects because it's just much more time efficient.
Yeah. Got
I
it.
think I think before a lot of brands would use they would use Shopify as the store, and then they would have an external service like Contentful
Yeah.
to write the content and publish that. I think with Meta Objects, it allows you to have that Contentful layer within Shopify.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Like, do you see, Ben, this innovation taking some use cases from using external CMSs, like whether it's Contentful or Sanity or whatever, and do you see this chipping away a bit of the use cases that those CMS used to cover?
I do, and if we talk about, let's say, outside of like the Shopify 2.0, and we go headless for a second, I think before you would leverage the Shopify API Contentful, I think with Meta Objects, we're just going to be able to leverage Shopify. And
So even if I would make a headless build, I could just leverage my objects as my CMS instead of having another system that I have to integrate with my stack.
yes, you could. Yeah.
I believe that you are correct that you could. The question is if you want. I think that when Shopify is still lacking on the meta object, it's really obvious.
I
And
think
that,
that's the direction they're trying to push it, though. Like, I think it'll improve. I think Contentful is definitely the better solution at the minute, but I think that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it one.
I agree. Like so far, the UI is not the best one, right? The content flow for that has much better UI. But what I think it even right now is worthy to use the meta objects in the Shopify through the API when you are using the content flow, because once Shopify will release the better UI for the meta objects, or like they definitely want to go this way. So any other like like content management system in their like environment, it will be based on the meta object. I think that we can be like 90% sure about it right now
Yeah.
because that's like obvious use.
If we try to select the direction, as you said, guys, if I try to see the last 5 years, how even the theme building has been evolving, I think basically what's happening here, it's a gradual effort to remove design to separate design from content,
Yeah.
because of course the grail is that you can change your design anytime you want and you don't have to set up all the content there again and again. And I think every single year Shopify is making huge steps towards making that like holy grail actual a reality that can be achieved.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Still on the topic of admin, we've got some cool new functionalities within the theme editors. And probably you, Robin, you play more with the theme than Ben. So, how do you feel about these flex sections and theme contexts?
Like honestly, when they released it, I had no idea about it. That was nightmare because I've been setting up something in the customization and I wasn't able. Like it took me like 10 minutes to figure out why the hell I don't see it on my store. Then I figure out that I'm on the B2B channel and yeah. But it's great. Like I think that for the first time, when anyone asks me, do I need separate store for my um, other like
Markets?
expansion store or other countries? for the first time ever, I'm able to say, well, it depends. So far, the answer has been always yes, you need, because there will be always something what you will want differently on one store, on one in one country, especially when you are focused there market wise, than in the other. Like this is a huge step in this, and I think that for maybe even 80-90% of the stores which are right now multiple countries, or like multiple stores for multiple countries, and they have it usually from the reason, yeah, we are launching the products that are here earlier, or we want to show there something different, because then it's solved and you can use just one store. And if you think about it, like it's saving the cost of the merchants like heavily, because imagine that you have two advanced stores, which is $400 per each, plus the apps which you are paying twice, plus the effort then you are doing twice, and like it can save you easily $1,000 per month just to
Yeah.
switch. And like it's not fully, I wouldn't say that it's fully integrated with whole apps so far. Like always when Shopify release something, always is like taking a while of the developers of the agencies or anyone to like accommodate it well. But once this will happen, I think that it will reduce the lovely number of the active Shopify stores, which we always like to brag that there is so many Shopify stores, and it will be definitely reduced because of that. But on the other side, it will help merchants, which is eventually what we want.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree that just now we can say it depends. I've been saying it depends for a longer period. Because I see that in the past there might have been a use case to do everything within one store, but especially for people that were not sure about expanding or doing the investment, because as you said, it's substantial. So I remember, like even 7 years ago, telling people, if you just want to try it, like go, the conversion will be low. Like you cannot have your own currency or the localized currency on the checkout, but give it a go and save some bucks there. So there is a huge array of scenarios there. But for sure, I agree with the fact that not just the theme context, which by the way, explaining it, which we haven't done it yet, means that you can select what market, how you want your store to look like for each market you are selling to, or even for your B2B channel. And the cool thing about this, and also Shopify Markets Pro, is that it will make the use cases that justify having expansion stores more and more reduced, which
Yeah,
means that there is still going to be use cases. If we're going to speak about Mana again, it was great we have the stores separated when we were launching huge new things like the subscription, and we want to try it just in one market, and we want to mess up analytics and the orders and all this type of things. So there will be still use cases where it makes sense to have expansion stores, but the window or the range of use cases is going to decrease more and
for sure,
more.
for sure.
Ben, what do you think about the Flex sections? Explain what it is, and from a developer's perspective, there is always this debate: is this going to take away work from us? Which, of course, I don't agree with. But how do you see it from your side? And give a bit of an intro about this topic.
I definitely would like to add that you must do changes to your theme. So you must upgrade it to Shopify 2.0 so it can
Yeah.
use flex sections. But it's basically so you build it so it uses flex block CSS. So people can customize where things are within the flex block. So you set up this will be able to have 4 items and some content, and then the user can define how big a certain thing is, and if the image wants to be moved over there in a flex way, in a fluid way, where they can just drag it and move
Yeah.
it.
So it will become more drag and droppy.
Yeah,
Like kind of reminds me of what Wix tried to come up with in the past, and that's where their like competitive advantage a bit, that you can actually almost draw your website to be as you want. And I guess Shopify just took the only little advantage that it might have in terms of designing your own website.
yeah. Because
And
like
you see,
before, it was
yeah,
like it was a drop down within the customizer. You would have I want this to display on the left section. Now it's just within the customizer, you can visually drag that image over there, sort of thing, and it'll change.
And as a developer, you see it as a threat that you have to code less CSS code, or as a blessing.
For me personally, I hate CSS, so it's glad to stay away. But I think it just allows more customization, right? We can set it up, and instead, sometimes you get these little small tasks where it's nice to just give the merchant the freedom to be able to have this fluid customization when they want. When they have a sale and they want to change some layout, it should be fluid for them. And Shopify have made that experience for developers for us to set it up really, really easy.
And that's the question, like, because we've been all through the era when you had the theme 1.0 or however to call it, right? Where you basically create everything using Liquid and you couldn't do much. Then, especially on the other pages, then become theme 2.0. Basically, everything has been moved to the JSON somehow, that you are building it in the JSON like ways that everything is preset, and then the merchant can fill it with the content, etc. Now the flags, how different it is to build it. Have any idea? Like, you played with it? Because I didn't, and I'm just curious if you did. Like, but it's not released, of course, right? I think it's only in the preview, if I'm correct. But yeah,
It works in the same way as like the sections work in 2.0. So you have your liquid, you have your CSS there, and then you have your schema. Or
okay.
you have to build it in flex blocks, which is layout within the web page. So if you use something like CSS grid, you wouldn't be able to. Your section wouldn't work. But if you built it with flex blocks, it'll then work.
I see. I know that we are not there yet, but I have a prediction here for this flex, because
Ooh.
once they will come and play, there are a bunch of Shopify agencies which loves to do only the CSS changes on your website and setting it stuffs up. I think once this will be out there and people will learn to use it, which is of course will take them a while, this will be hard time for them. Because once you are doing only small adjustments to the store, of course you will have your audience because someone just don't want to spend the time on it. But of course, but like this either will make job much more easier or it will reduce the amount of the job. I don't know which one of these two it will be. Maybe
Yeah,
both.
I'm more for the perspective to make things more easier, and you'd get rid of the simple jobs you don't want to do anyway. Because even those companies that are just like clicking stuff away, coding just the front end, HTML, CSS, even they definitely hate to have a gig that is just 15 minutes to change something from blue to red and have to do it themselves on the code. It's almost not worth it the time that they have to do an invoice for 15 minutes work. So I think it's just going to be net positive, and yeah, I think that that'll be the end game here.
That's cool. I like it. I really can imagine that this can even work with the AI with the future.
Cool. We are reaching now the last section of the topics we want to cover today, which is things that Shopify is bringing to the table by themselves that one could say they are quite revolutionary or maybe rivaling existing solutions. And we are quite excited about some of them.
Okay, we are. Who takes the bundles, guys?
I think I'll take bundles. I think for a long time, merchants have asked for things like bundles, and we'll move on to subscriptions after. But I think merchants have asked for these things, and Shopify have always said, "Look, you should install this app, or there's these options." And I think they needed to be like a native bundle feature, because it's like a default feature of a business where if you sell 30 of an item, you want to give somebody a discount. So I was really happy when Shopify added this, even if it might not be as complex as the existing bundle apps. I think this will help merchants sell more volume.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the Bundles app is that it's built on top of Bundles API, which is public. So the cool thing is that people will be able to now natively do bundle type of solutions much better, even using a third party. Because right now the third party were basically hacks. You are doing things in a certain way, but you always have to compromise on inventory syncing, or you'd have to like make things. You'd have to basically put the bundles together with sticks and glue. And
Yeah.
right now you have a proper way how to build it.
And like I remember, it may be different now, but I remember when Bold first ever brought out their bundles app, and the amount of changes you have to do within the theme, it basically
Yeah,
changed.
it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy the amount of things that you had to change there.
Like
And
I
then, and then and then if you wanted to remove it, um, it was a whole show as well.
I agree with all what you said, but
But
there is still a lot of space for these hacks. The reason is simple. Shopify kept there the 100 variants limit even for the bundle, and
but
now
it will change. It will change soon,
I
right?
hope I
So
hope that
they
it will.
they said it themselves. They said on the announcement
Okay.
that when at the same time they announced this bundles app, they said that like soon they'll increase the limit from 100 to 250.
250, right? So like imagine that you want to sell like t-shirt in the different sizes, colors, and you want to bundle it with the socks with different sizes, colors, and the worst case images, plus the trousers and the sweatshirt. You have 7 colors, 10 sizes, and you are screwed already. It doesn't matter. Like these needs to be like, it's still a lot limitation. So there you still need to be able to use these hacks.
Of course. Yeah, of course. There is a place for all those things, right? Like as Shopify always says, they just want to cover 80% of the merchant's needs, because there will always be 20% edge cases which they cannot cover. And if they'll try to cover, they'll just bankrupt because they will never be able to have all the power, the manpower needed to do it. So I definitely agree that for that specific case, it's completely irrelevant, this app. But if you are selling shampoo and you want to have a conditioner on top of it,
Yeah,
perfect. Automatically you raise your like average order value with very little effort and setup.
yeah, for sure. Like I think that it will have huge use, but still it has the limitations. And the API itself, it's cool. Like that's really a step forward. And definitely it will not kill the apps, right? Because if you are doing just the bundles as an app, you created your app in the 5 minutes and you have your 1,000 installs for $5 per month, you are happy because you don't need to do anything. But
Yeah.
obviously Shopify will in this way steal your business because like, man, you spent 5 minutes to building it. Like, sure.
Another app that Shopify is bringing, native app done by themselves. I don't think this is live yet. Everybody's on Twitter asking all the time, when is this coming though? When is this coming though? But similar to the previous app, this is going to disrupt a bit the waters, right?
Yes and no, I would say. Like, do you remember Shopify reviews? Like,
Yeah, I guess they removed it from the App Store a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember that one. That
yep,
was
like the reason is simple, right? When you give merchants the option to have something, it's great, but you either need to take care of it, which didn't happen with reviews. That's true. You need to give them some options. Like, I'm really curious how this subscription will handle the churn rate, because in most of the apps you have some advanced flow for the churns. Like you can set up, you can ask the questions of the merchant, etc. Like it's a great starting point if you are thinking about starting the subscription. I think that for that
That's
is,
the target market, I guess. I believe.
and because it will run on the Shopify on the subscription on the selling plan, how any other app is running. Therefore, the switch, once you will figure out, oh, subscription really works for me, and I'm not just cannibalizing my own loyal customers, but it actually works, then you can just easily switch to something more powerful. Like there
Yeah.
are like those apps, there are hundreds of them maybe right now, the subscription apps, some of them worse, some of them better. If you if you want to choose, good luck. Like contact someone who knows, who has the experience. But yeah, like this, for this purpose, it's really great.
Yeah, I think that's the only purpose indeed. Like I would say for all apps that Shopify is launching, if we go on to go do a throwback to when they released Shopify email,
Yeah,
the goal is simple. They have millions of merchants, maybe I'm exaggerating, hundreds of thousands of merchants that are not leveraging any type of email marketing. If they give them a very basic, simple way of playing with it, they are going to increase transactions, conversions, revenue. The more revenue, the better for Shopify because of the transaction fees. So it's just a way to boost those stores that maybe even are successful but have never played this type of concepts.
yeah,
I think from a developer's perspective, I think things like Recharge and Smarter, I think those integrations, if you want something complex, it can take a while, or you're looking at really complex APIs that you have to look at. With the native subscriptions, a simple merchant can just come and be like, I want to try this feature. Let's see how it works. Let's look at the numbers. And then they can start looking at something more complex like a Smarter and a Recharge.
Yeah, indeed, it's definitely going to decrease the barrier of entry into this type of experiments. And last but not least, we have the one-page checkout, which most people have been dreaming of for many years.
I was so happy when they announced this because this is what people have been shouting for a long time. Like, uh,
Yeah,
it's
and
super.
I've been for the last 7 years arguing that it's better to have a three-step checkout, and now I have to do some brainwashing to say no, actually this is better.
Yeah, like that's what I would say that is super funny about it. Like Shopify has been always claiming our checkout is the most converting model. And then they, I believe, and now correct me if I'm wrong, but actually in the shop pay and in the app, there used to be the single page checkout, and they saw that it has higher conversion rate, and they just were like, maybe we've been wrong the whole time, and we need to switch
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
But it at least shows one thing. Like, point me to any e-commerce platform which would take their data so seriously that they would change everything what they've been saying for the last 7 years just in order to help the customers. Like, I don't think, and I cannot think about any other.
Yeah, that's why I always say that like many merchants hate on the fact that Shopify charges on a transactional basis, on based on your volume of orders or volume of revenue. But I think that's actually the best pricing they could have thought about because they are actually invested on you being as successful as possible. It's like a success fee. You
Yeah,
know, it's the best type of model you can ask for any service or product you're using. And because of that, they don't care of how it's going to look like. It took us 10 years to make a one-page checkout when everybody was asking for it. No, they say, okay, we have the best checkout ever, most best converting. We have data to prove it, and we're going to make it even better and even faster. You know, because we want you to have the best results as possible.
yeah. Like, this is great. I'm curious how the new checkout UI extensions will play with the single page checkout, and I think it can be a lot game changer. These two things together, that it will be a really store dependent checkout for the first time in the Shopify whole history, and that's like crazy. Like, I'm not talking about, of course, there have been some like stores which had totally custom made checkout through the JavaScript, which may be or may not be more converting and more stable than the Shopify one like itself, because there was so much JavaScript that sometimes it got broken. But like in general, I think that this is a huge step front, even so it's still missing some of the major functionalities which I would like to have there, especially in the Europe, but we will talk about
Yeah.
it later.
I think touching on checkout UI, I think Shopify needs credit for allowing like they keep adding more extension points, but within the checkout, you can literally mount anything. And they've also made it so we can use the style guide. So if like, if you want a date picker on there, or we want some drop down, a map, anything that's mounted on the checkout, we can now do it. And Shopify said, look, we're not going to tell you what you can have here. We're just going to say, look, here are the mounting points. Have you decide what you want to put there. And it's good.
Yeah, and like keeping the security still intact, like that's a huge thing, right? It's still like they are making a huge, huge job on this, and even the speed. And by the way, we didn't mention one thing which I would like to mention, and I'm not sure if you are aware, but Shopify actually asked everyone in the e-commerce already for 4 years or maybe even more, saying that speed is the key, right? And like when you will be on like slower internet, go to the Shopify store, some of them, because they actually really improve the response of the servers, and now it's much faster. And like it actually been mentioned to me by the merchant. I didn't realize that because I'm at home usually when I'm browsing, so I have quick internet and everything. But when you really try it outside, like in some like 3G, or like don't try it on the edge, because there is a huge possibility that it will not load at all, right? Because it's edge. But like on the 3G or anything like that, you really see the improvement which they've done in the speed. And like that's where I would put the heads down, because like you have millions of stores and like serving them that fast, really good job.
I also think Shopify allowing more customization is really good, because I think you have the problem. The reason why they have so high churn is because everybody like goes and they create a Shopify store for like the smaller merchant, and then they get the default theme. And I think there's this thing where people can go to the Shopify default theme and they can say like, this is a Shopify store, right? This is
Yeah.
this is on the default theme. And I think it creates that, nah, I'm not going to check out here because it looked like that other store that I went to, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you can make yourself unique out of the rest,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think Robin and I sometimes hear from our clients. I want a Shopify store, but I don't want it to look like a Shopify store, you know? And it's getting, of course, easier and easier to do it, even without having to have a premium theme or even without having to code a lot. So let's go to the last part of our conversation here. This is prediction slash wish list that we hope that we'll get in the next summer, in the next editions, which will be in the winter. So, what is what do you want for Christmas, Robin?
Like, yeah, I think that everyone around the Europe, that the pickup points are like they are huge. You can either Paqueta, DHL, anyone, PPL, GLS, everyone has their pickup points. There are tons of the boxes which are appearing all around the Europe. So there are thousands, 10,000s of them. Like in some countries, it has been like that for a while, in some northern countries, etc. But Shopify didn't have and still don't have like powerful solution for it. But so far we could like work around it with the checkout.liquid. We could let the customer pick during their purchasing journey the right pickup point for them. But because the checkout.liquid will end in the August 2024, and also right now it's, I would say, almost impossible to negotiate with the Shopify Plus team to allow this feature right now. Like it is possible, but it's really hard. Then like getting this, I believe that Shopify needs to solve it. And I know that they've been working on it for a while, and I'm really looking forward how they will solve it. I believe that it will be some map where you can like mount where you can just like flush it with the whole information about the pickup points. But this is really tricky because you need to have the instant communication. You need to load them right now, especially in the peak season. So I'm curious how they will handle it, but they need to, and I believe that this will happen in the winter. Because if it will not, that it will have a huge impact on them, and that's something what they don't like.
Yeah.
So I really believe that.
Yeah, we definitely are trying to push for some change in the roadmap to make sure that this type of issue gets sorted,
Yeah,
especially before the checkout liquid gets deprecators. Regarding the subscriptions aspect we've been discussing so far, one of you told me that you believe that it will be easier and easier to use different gateways for subscriptions. Why do you think so?
it was me. Because so far you can use subscription only with the two payment gateways, which is natively with the Shopify payment or ShopPay, how they call it, I believe right now, in general. And that's cool, but it's not supported in a lot of countries, right? So then you have a Stripe, which is supported in most countries, not all of them. And that's actually why I think that they will allow it for the other payment gateways. There are two reasons: to allow the subscription worldwide, and the second reason is, especially when you are in, even in our country, you know it, in the Czech Republic, like there are some payment gateways which are much more trustworthy from the customer point of view
Yeah,
than
more
it's
popular. Yeah.
yeah, more popular. And even in other countries it's similar, and it's sometimes like the breaking point for for some merchants to switch to the Shopify, because it's not allowed for these, or we cannot do it here, we need to do it different way, etc. So that's the reason why I believe it will be there. And also when you look how they are improving the payment gateways API, it kind of seems that they are going towards this direction. I'm not saying that they are fully there, but it seems like they want to allow more stuffs for the payment solution, or they are just like hanging the carrot before us and you will never reach it. I don't know. uh,
No, I think they are going that direction. I just am afraid it will not be the next winter, but maybe in a couple of years we'll see this happening.
yeah, maybe you're
What
right.
about your predictions, Ben? What do you have for us?
I think my prediction is more bigger merchants will start to build headless. I think there's definitely the thoughts of, like, let's say you spend a lot of time making a really shiny brand new theme within Shopify. I think you can get to the point where you think, who owns the actual base and the code for the store? Because, like, if you want to change solution or something, you then are locked into the Shopify. If you build headless, you can build your store. If you want to change any sort of integration, you can. If you want to integrate with something that isn't a Shopify app and it's just a third party that you'd like to add to your store, you can do that headless and still leverage Shopify. So I think a lot of bigger merchants will go that approach because then they have full 360 control of their theme and their base.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this will evolve. I actually speak with some other partners in the Shopify ecosystem to maybe have some Twitter spaces about this topic, because the sentiment that I'm seeing online is more like the headless boom is like starting to break down, and people are actually seeing more and more powerful feature can be done defaultly on Liquid. So I'm curious to see how this need for control and for ownership of the code will battle against the advantage of a native build on Shopify. So it's definitely interesting to see how this will evolve.
Yeah, I'm really interested because I see the benefits on both sides. Like if you're
Yeah.
in Shopify's ecosystem, you've got Shopify really helping you and keeping your system, and but then you're entering a whole other dungeon with headless, is because then you've got more to manage. You've then got your deployments, making sure
Yeah.
it's fast all around the world and stuff. So
I actually think that they will go on something between, because like we can see even right now there are some flags of having like theme customizable headless solution. It's starting to happening, and basically what are the major advantages of the headless so far is the speed and customization URLs, plus connection to the whole API world, basically, because that's what you can do like directly and render it on the server, and don't need to worry about other stuff. Like, these are the huge advantages, but still the connection to the apps and still the customization of the usual Shopify store, where they basically the speed they are starting to take down. The URLs now they are translatable, so at least something it seems that is happening there. Like this makes me think that they will probably somehow try to even combine it, like build it on the headless remix, but allowing all these customization and like the smoothest integration of the ad, but still have the control over it. I think that this will be somewhere where they will go eventually. Question is when, but I agree that the headless and remix is like definitely getting more focus in the Shopify, and you can even see it on how they are approaching it through the API, etc.
I think I agree, Robin. I think there was definitely a look towards headless where you would go, right, I'm going to move that way because it'll improve better page speeds. But I think lately with Shopify 2.0, and you can get like 100 stores with a Shopify theme, with a 2.0 Shopify theme. So I don't think page speed is in this discussion anymore, right? It's other things like ownership and um, other things like that.
Okay, great, guys. I'm going to speed through our last slide just so that we can close. We've been speaking here for quite some time. I hope you. What?
Give us your predictions.
Yeah,
If you would know how David prepared this, like he asked us, "What are your favorite things on the edition?" He put there all our things. He didn't put there a single
yeah.
predictions.
I'm moderating the
Just
conversation.
all David's predictions.
You're putting on the spot now, Robbie.
I'm here on the role of moderator, you know? I'm like
Man,
in my conditions.
you are living the Shopify ecosystems for last 7 years. Give us what you
Yeah.
think.
Okay, if you want it so much, I would say editions winter this year. I'm more curious to know what's going to happen in 2 years because each 2 years I see Shopify makes like a huge jump in terms of quality, customization, and so on. This year it was a lot around the AI, as we discussed before, and a lot about the extra potential of customization. Of course, they start focusing on B2B, which is a whole different topic that is super exciting. If I would have to say something, I would say continuous investment on B2B channels because that's super powerful at the moment. I would say expansion of Shopify POS for different countries because we all, especially the most interesting clients, they need to have an omni-channel type of solution. So that's something that I'm pretty interested in. And I would say that they were going to get better at localization. And by that, I mean the URLs being translatable. I mean having Shopify payments supporting more local payment methods because especially since they have launched Shopify Markets Pro, they are going to slowly encounter more and more use cases they have not been covering so far. So those are like my three bets.
They're actually really good bets and not much vicious, right?
Yeah,
I think I think one really good example I saw recently that Shopify are listening to us as partners is they said they was going to remove the expert stars on the
yeah,
expert
on the
marketplace.
new directory, right?
Yeah, and a lot of partners raged about that, and they've said, "Look, we're listening to you. We won't do that change." And I think with other things, if we tell them, they're willing, then they'll improve. I mean,
Yeah,
there's the joke that it took them 7-8 years to do one page checkout, but we got it
yeah,
eventually.
yeah. Like I can also share an experience from the last couple of weeks, which was I had a client which was quite frustrated about a specific challenge he had. And I said, let me help you because I know how to speak Shopify language. And I just basically mailed a bunch of people that were in contact with my client from Shopify side. And I emailed directly Arley as well, the president of Shopify. So I described in detail the problem and they listened and they are working on it. They are solving it. And it was crazy. I, of course, explained how sad I was to see like Shopify failing one of our mutual clients because I know that they are above that, and they really care. So I went to the person that I thought that I could reach online that cares the most, and they started making sure people were moving some strings to make things happen.
So
One thing, one
now you basically spam.
I didn't spam. It was a very well thought out email without ChatGPT.
For whoever is listening right now, he will be like, "Oh, I can do that as well."
I'm not saying his email. Like you can find it, but I'm not saying his email. He said it himself publicly. You know.
I know, I know.
one thing I think is really cool is that if you go to a lot of the latest stuff that Shopify's putting out, Toby, he comments a lot on GitHub and he's still really active.
Yeah.
Like if somebody makes a proposal within one of the open source Shopify things, a lot of time it's Toby that will reply.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And we all know that my biggest wish is to become BFF with
Yeah.
Toby and Arlie. So that's my wish for 2024.
You will
Let's
be.
close
You
it,
will be.
guys. We are waiting. We are speaking for so long. I have to go to my smoke break.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks for joining, everybody. If you have any questions, please drop us a comment, leave us an email. We are everywhere. So reach out in any way you want, and we'll be happy to be in touch with you guys. Hope this was helpful. Bye.
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 And end stream. Now.